Hi guys, and welcome to Katie's Insight, where I give my insight on all kinds of things, including news, politics, business, finance, entertainment, and right now, we've been on the stimulus train track, and we're going to stay there because we know that you guys need help, and I want to try to read between the lines, see what's going on, and show you the path forward. Y'all, if you did not check out my video from earlier, go, because this one will be confusing, and then check out the video from last night, because these two are going to put together exactly what's going on. So, as we all know, the president got the virus, unfortunately. Our hearts go out to the president because that's awful. We don't want him being sick. And the same with First Melania. And it got to the point where he had a fever and he was having oxygen drops. So he went to Walter Reed Hospital. Well, he's been released. And since he's been released, he's been doing some, I guess we'll call it interesting things. He has been saying some stuff and doing things that just look stupid, y'all. And I have pointed it out. Like, I'm going to point out when I see both sides acting a fool. He's acting a fool right now, in my opinion. He put out tweets late last night saying he was canceling the stimulus talks, had everybody up in arms. The problem is, if you don't follow this stuff in detail, if you don't understand the players, how they communicate, and their different strategies for negotiations and what they do, it can be confusing and alarming, because a lot of people yesterday went to me and they said, Trump canceled stimulus, your videos are wrong. Y'all, you're looking at this from just one side, because then Trump tweeted late last night. He tweeted and clarified that he is ready to sign checks and get them sent out. And I told you guys yesterday in last night's video when I kind of went over some of this and I said, I think we're going to get more clarity. Sit tight. This is probably a negotiation tactic going on because we know Trump is very pro-stimulus. And sure enough, today, he ended up putting out tweets, or it was last night, late last night, where he clarified everything. He clarified the situation saying he wants to get checks signed. And I said, you know, in the first video, I said, you know, we're going to have to wait for more signs. I'm sure we're going to hear his talking heads start talking, like Meadows, Mnuchin, Kudlow. And here it is. We have Mark Meadows today on an interview with Fox, and he is going over in detail what's going on with the president and what the president meant, so we're going to break all of that down for you. As I told y'all was going to happen, I'm good at reading these guys, y'all. So if you haven't yet, subscribe and hit notifications so you can keep up to date with what's going on with the stimulus and see the things that I've predicted and see if they come true, because I called a lot of things that other people said, it won't happen, it can't happen, you're wrong, it's impossible, and it did. So I'm going to show you guys kind of what my insight is, breaking down what they say and what is going forward. And before we begin that, guys, we're doing a $100 gift card giveaway in the video from earlier today. So make sure if you haven't, go watch the video from this morning and watch from start to finish, because then you can be a part of our $100 gift card giveaway. And it's so simple. This is you all have to do. Like our videos, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, boom. That's it. You're eligible. That's all you have to do. Make sure and do it for any video you see, because the more guys you like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell if you haven't, the more that you are able to do that, the more I can grow my channel and I can keep doing consistent giveaways. So I'm only doing one right now. I will announce the winner of today's Wednesday. I will announce it Friday in one of Friday's videos. So I want to see how it goes. If it gives me the rate of return that I should have with building the channel, then I'll continue forward. But I need you guys, I need your support to be able to do these giveaways, because I'm not like other YouTubers, and I get it, guys. For a while I was like, why do people think it's a scam? And then I learned that there are a lot of YouTubers that will say they're doing this and giving away that, and they don't. And I was so heartbroken, because I can show y'all my account of where I've gone in quite a hole giving out the stimulus gift cards, but I'm so happy to do it because I want to get back to you guys. And that's why when I restarted, I was very transparent and I said, you know, guys, if you're going to like and comment and share right now, I can't do the giveaway if you are expecting that, because I actually do give these away with my money. So I'm going to try one. We're going to see how it goes. So please make sure and go like. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content so you can be eligible. And hopefully if we can get this channel, continue to have it up and running and be successful, I can keep doing giveaways for you guys, which would make me so happy. But yeah, these add up. 2 or 3 videos a day, giving out a gift card, you know, in each one. It adds up very quickly, but I'm happy to do it. So make sure and help me out there so I can help you guys. Also, find me on Facebook, Katie's Insights. Like the page, join the group. It's Katie's Corner right now. Will be changed to Katie's Insights. If you can't find Katie's Corner, look up Katie's Insight. And then in that group, you can join us, all the stimulus questions you want. We are in there and we are helping. Okay, let's dive into this. So first, let's go back to the beginning. Sorry if you hear my keys. Just my keys. Look at the little Snow White. I love Snow White. I loved her. I always thought out of the Disney princesses, she was the smartest, because I was like, she's got 7 little men that she, you know, pimps out on the side, and then that Prince Charming. Wow, she is smart. What a baller business bee. That's always how I look at Snow White. So to me, I think she's one of the smarter ones. But then again, she does bite that apple. So there's some naivete. But smart businesswoman. At least that's how I've looked at it since I was little. Always my favorite. Probably also because when I say I look most like her, I don't think I look like her. I just mean I have the dark hair, the light skin. But then again, back then, everybody had light skin. And there's others that have dark hair, too. I also love Belle. Belle is pretty bad A, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and start from the beginning just so you guys have a context. I'm going to read these tweets from Mr. Trump, and I have them pulled up. I ended up pulling them up on 2 different browsers because he's tweeted so much the last video I kept having to scroll and spend minutes in between clips finding them. So I have them all pulled up. This is what he said. This is what is getting everybody riled up. Here we go. Nancy Pelosi is asking for $2.4 trillion to bail out poorly run, high-crime Democratic states. Money that is in no way related to the virus. We made a very generous offer of $1.6 trillion, and as usual, she is not negotiating in good faith. This was, by the way, done 22 hours ago, so it was done yesterday. I am rejecting the request and looking to the future of our country. I've instructed my representatives to stop negotiating until after the election when, immediately after I win, we will pass a major stimulus bill that focuses on hardworking Americans and small businesses. I have asked Mitch McConnell to not delay, but to instead focus full-time on approving my outstanding nominee to the United States Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett. Our economy is doing very well. The stock market is at record levels. Jobs, he says in big letters, and unemployment also coming back in record numbers. We are leading the world in economic recovery and capital. The best is yet to come. So that's what he says there. Now, that had everybody up in arms because it was going, the stimulus is canceled. Trump canceled the stimulus. And I said, slow your roll, guys. We know that Trump a lot of times uses these types of things as negotiation tactics. Not everything is as it appears. And it seems when it comes to Trump, we have to wait for more information. He will clarify. And sure enough, I was right. So let's go ahead and see what he said 15 hours ago, late last night. He says, the House and the Senate should immediately, big letters, immediately, approve the $25 billion for airline payroll support and $135 billion for Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses. Both of these will be fully paid for with unused funds from the CARES Act. Have this money. I will sign now. And it says 11,000 North Carolina residents get incorrect voter registration forms. He's talking about voter registration in North Carolina, and he is saying it's going to be a corrupt election. Who knows? But then the next one. If I am sent a standalone bill for stimulus checks, $1,200, they will go out to our great people immediately. I am ready to sign right now. Are you listening? And he tags Mark Meadows, Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, Nancy Pelosi, and Schumer. So I thought that was really funny. And then I'm going to search for it real quick. There is another tweet that he did. He retweeted and he talks about Nancy again. He then retweets his own tweet about if I am sent a standalone bill, and he says, move fast. I'm waiting to sign. So that's where we're at so far. He's said, he's also done some tweets where he calls her, crazy Nancy, as he does. I kind of can't disagree with him there, but there are a couple of really interesting things in his tweets. I will break down another video that I have seen when it comes to repurposing money. I've been saying for a while, they have money to repurpose from the CARES Act. There's still like over $1 billion left from the CARES Act that they have money to do. They have money from the PPP, that Main Street lending program that's gone nowhere, and Trump has been teasing us. So what's going on and why is he not doing anything, which we're going to break down and get into another video later. I really want to break down some of the details and the minutiae of that. But as I said, we're going to have more talking heads come out and talk about this and try to cover up for some of the things that Trump is saying and doing right now that look very, very stupid. And one of those people is Mark Meadows. And I knew Mark was going to come out. And, Mark is one of his mouthpieces. Mark is one of the people that speaks for him. And Mark had some really, really interesting things to say when it comes to everything going on. So let's go ahead. I have a clip, an article pulled, well, not an article, but I do have a clip pulled up about Mark Meadows. Let's go ahead, see what Mark Meadows has said, and then we will discuss at the end what it means. Take it away, Mark.
I'm hoping Mark Meadows will use his words. He is the White House Chief of Staff and maybe the MVP of that current White House, and currently one of the few without the coronavirus. First off, on the president, Mark Meadows, the word is going into today, he had no COVID-19 symptoms. What about him? What about you?
Yeah, he's doing real well. We actually spent some time together yesterday working very hard from the residence, and I can tell you that he's fully engaged and feeling great. You know, his heart continues to go out to the millions of Americans who have struggled with this virus, having not only gotten it, but having gotten treatment from the great folks at Walter Reed. I continue to test negative, but at the same time, we know this virus has a way of reaching out and getting people when they least expect it. And so the president is already been on the phone this morning talking to Secretary Mnuchin. The secretary and I have been talking about what we could do with standalone bills to help airlines, small businesses, and the American people with stimulus checks. So hopefully we can convince Speaker Pelosi to do something on a standalone basis.
Well, since you mentioned that, Nancy Pelosi was apparently on a phone call yesterday, and there's a quote from Bloomberg News that says Pelosi earlier told House Democrats on a conference call that Trump's thinking might be affected by the steroids he's taken to treat his coronavirus infection, according to a lawmaker on the call. So, Mark, Nancy Pelosi is suggesting that the president is making some crazy decisions because it's like roid rage.
Well, Speaker Pelosi continues to throw out all kinds of reasons for the failure on the negotiations, other than looking in the mirror, because we know that consistently she's been at the 2.2 to 2.4 trillion, depending on what day you talk to her. She's failed to budge. She's not negotiating in good faith, and a number of us yesterday were on a call with the president as we looked at the progress that had been made, or I might say that had not been made, and the president felt like it was better to be transparent with the American people on the prognosis of whether we would be able to get it. He's still fully engaged. I will say this: Secretary Mnuchin and the president have offered 1.6 trillion. Willing to look at they were willing to look at a little bit more than that because they had given money for schools, they'd given money for small businesses, money for child care, money really for the airlines and a number of the other places that are hurting right now, and she continues to say that it's not enough. And so she'd rather spend zero than $1.6 trillion, and I don't know that the American people will accept that.
I know that Stephen Miller tested positive. He's a speechwriter and one of Trump's senior advisors. What precautions is the White House putting in place now?
Yeah, we've actually had a number of precautions in place. Obviously, with Stephen Miller, we knew that he had a potential exposure. He's actually been working from home since that time, and we've actually been testing him each and every day to make sure that when he turned positive, we would know that, just because he had very close contact with Hope Hicks. And so as the news came out yesterday, we kind of had anticipated that. The good news is the contact tracing for him was really zero because he hadn't been in contact with anybody in the West Wing. We've actually also done some additional protocols in terms of cordoning off different working groups to try to not only stop it, but also understand how we can put in additional protocols to make sure people are safe.
Mark, as you know, when you come out in business hours and with the tweet the president came out with, it tanked the market. I think it lost 400 points. And this an hour before, the Fed Chair Jerome Powell says he warned failing to inject more federal help into the economy would risk weakening the tenuous recovery. Country needs stimulus checks, many people would say, that you want to give. Having said that, being that the Fed's saying that, he's not saying Republicans or Democrats. It's to the president's advantage and the country's need to get something in there. Why can't you work something out, being that Steve Mnuchin had 2 long meetings yesterday? Did he come back, throw up his hands and tell the president, do me a favor and tweet? Did you ask the president to tweet? Could you bring us inside that process?
Well, I'll bring you inside the process. I think I was sharing that we actually had a phone call there. We can continue to have conversations that don't lead anywhere. And Brian, and when you do that, we were on with Leader McCarthy, Leader McConnell, the president, myself, and as we were talking about the progress there, the numbers they were talking about are just incredibly high in terms of bailouts for states, blue-run states. The numbers they're suggesting are much higher than what the real need is. Additionally, when we look at, there was a bipartisan proposal that put out by the problem solvers. Almost at every turn, the proposal that the president put forth was actually better than that proposal. There comes a point where you understand that the other side is just playing politics. The real thing is Speaker Pelosi didn't want those checks to go out to the American people before November 3rd. She felt like it would help the president, and so she's been negotiating in that manner.
Right.
And so we're still willing to be engaged, but I'm not optimistic for a comprehensive deal. I am optimistic that there's about 10 things that we could do on a piecemeal basis if the Speaker is willing to put it before her members.
One of the other tweets from the president, I think it was in the 6 or 7 o'clock hour, Mr. Meadows, was the president announced that the declassified documents from Mr. Brennan, formerly at the CIA, and others had been released last night. And essentially what it looks like, the note from CIA Director Brennan looks like Hillary Clinton and their campaign ordered a campaign plan to stir up a scandal by linking Trump to Russia in 2016 to deflect from her private email server that, everybody was afraid was not secure enough. This goes back to your days in Congress. Nobody knows more about this than you. This is not surprising.
Well, it's not surprising to me, but it is surprising to the American people when you see Brennan's notes. And one of the things he puts in there is to vilify Donald Trump. I mean, when you look at a coordinated effort and now you see it in his own handwriting, why is this just now coming out to the American people? Why, after $45 million, did Mueller not put any of this in his report to say there could have been a different narrative? There are more documents to come. The president wants transparency on all of this, and hopefully we'll see documents in the coming days.
What did Dan Coates do for 3 years?
Well, obviously, Dan Coates did not allow these documents to come out. I want to applaud Director Ratcliffe and his willingness, and Director Grinnell before him, in terms of trying to make sure that the American people understand the truth. The president's been saying it from day one. Now, all of a sudden, we have the documents to support it.
The only problem is the other networks are not covering it. NBC, ABC, and CBS didn't cover it on their nightly newscasts. So,
well, that's not a surprise. That's not a surprise.
But it's such a big story. The American public needs to know this. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
Good to see you.
Notes. Here we go. So he says, so the interviewer says, so no virus for you so far. So Mark has, even though he's been exposed to it several times, like most people in the White House, he has been tested negative, which is great. We're happy to hear that. And he says, and the president right now is reporting no symptoms, which is also fantastic. That's the thing, like with Boris Johnson in the UK, he got to a point where I think it was on day 8 of testing positive was when he went downhill. So remember, Trump is not out of the woods yet, even though he is back to the White House. He is not out of the woods when it comes to having the situation, and we don't know if he's still spreading the virus. I think he's at the point where he still can. I guess that point of shedding the virus and being able to spread and transmit is going to be different for everybody. Typically, it's a 5 to 10 day window, but it can be a little sooner, a little later for other people, so they are testing him heavily for that. But just to let you know, guys, he's not fully out of the woods until next Monday, so we still have to kind of be careful, and I hope he's still being careful with that. So he says, and so Mark Meadows says, the president, I said Pelosi! What's wrong with me? The president is doing really well. We spent time together yesterday working hard from the residents, and I can tell, and that's the White House, I can tell you, he is fully engaged and feeling great. His heart continues to go out to the millions of Americans still struggling with the virus. He says, having got treatment at Walter Reed, I keep testing negative, but we know the virus has a way of reaching out and getting to people when least expected. Trump has been on the phone with Mnuchin and talking about how we can do a standalone bill for the airlines, small businesses, stimulus checks for Americans, and hopefully we can convince Pelosi to do something with the standalone bills or on a standalone basis. So that's what he is saying that they are pushing, and I think what he's trying to say, and this is what he's going to be alluding to because everything's going to go in this direction, that everything Trump said is about doing standalone bills right now to be able to pass so we can have things. And I'm also happy to hear that he says that Trump's first priority is stimulus. But if that's the case, Trump, go ahead and make those executive orders. We'll talk about that later. So then the interviewer says, Pelosi on a conference call told Democrats that Trump thinking might be affected by the steroids. Pelosi is suggesting the president is making crazy decisions due to road rage. We're going to talk about this tomorrow or today. I'm not sure. It's going to be in a video here soon because this really irritates me. So they said Speaker Pelosi continues to throw out all kinds of reasoning for the failure on negotiations, other than looking in the mirror. She's consistently been at a 2.2 or 2.4 trillion spending, and that depends on what day you're talking to her. She's failed a bunch and not negotiating in good faith. A lot of us were on the call with the president looking at the progress that had been made or not been made. The president felt it was better to be transparent with the American people on the prognosis of when we can get stimulus. He's still fully engaged. Mnuchin and the president have offered a $1.6 trillion bill, willing to look at a little more than that even, because they'd given money for schools, small businesses, childcare, airlines, other places that are hurting right now. Pelosi keeps saying it's not enough. She'd rather spend $0 than $1.6 trillion. I give it to him there. I agree. Then they said Stephen Miller, who's a speechwriter, tested positive. What precautions are there with this virus? He says, we are putting precautions in place. We knew Stephen was a potential exposure. He's now working from home and being tested each and every day. We knew he had close contact with Hope Hicks. As news came out yesterday, we had anticipated that. The contact tracing for him is 0 because he had not been in contact with anybody in the West Wing. We've done additional protocols to coordinate putting people off of and additional working groups to put them off in their own place, not only to try to stop the virus, but in how we can put additional protocols in place because we want to make people as safe as possible. So she says, or they say, in the business hours, the market tanked with those tweets, and it's true, the market fell by 2%. It went down crazy because of what Trump did, which, again, he is so big on wanting to make sure the economy is okay, and then he says something like that just tanks it. It's another reason why I think a lot of people are thinking his cognitive abilities might be affected by either the steroids or the virus. It would have to depend on how much steroid he's taking. From somebody who's been on a lot of steroids for my lungs, I don't think it would affect him that much. It would make him hyper, maybe to an extent. They're we'll go into this, Nancy Pelosi said, well, maybe he's in a testosterone, he's in kind of a roid rage that people who take, people who take different types of steroids do. But these steroids are going to be different than it's going to be a different situation than people who are just trying to bulk up and that sort of thing. That's a different situation. So it would depend on how much he's on. But as somebody who's had to routinely take steroids at different times for lung issues, yes, you do have energy, but I've never had my cognitive abilities. In fact, I've been more cognitively clear when I'm on steroids, when I've had to be on steroids like prednisone or different things when it comes to my lungs. So then they said, in the business hours, the market tanked with those tweets. Again, he's just done a lot of stupid moves, guys. They lost 400 points. This an hour before Fed Chair Jerome Powell said he warned failure to inject help and the economy could weaken our recovery. I'm going to try to cover this. Every time I try to cover the Fed, more things come out and I just don't have time, and I'd like to cover this here soon. So the Fed says our economy needs stimulus checks to recover. He's not saying Republicans or Democrats. He says it's to the advantage of the president and the needs of the country to get something done here. He says, why can't you work something out? You had about 2 long meetings with Mnuchin yesterday. Did Mnuchin just throw up his hands in the air and tell the president to tweet this? Did you? How did this happen? So they're asking specifically, what happened with these crazy tweets? He says, we were having a phone call there. We continue to have conversations that don't lead anywhere with the Democrats, with Pelosi and Schumer. And when that continues, we were on a call with McCarthy, McConnell, President, myself, and as we were asking about the progress, the numbers being talked about are incredibly high for bailouts for blue-run states. It's much higher than what the real need is. Additionally, there was a proposal put out by the Problem Solvers Caucus that was better than their proposal. Agreed. And they just have let it die. I completely agree with him. There's a point where you understand the other side is just playing politics. Pelosi also does not want these checks coming out before November 3rd. She is negotiating in that matter because she doesn't want the president looking good from this. She felt it would help him. We're still willing to engage, but I'm not optimistic on it. Comprehensive deal. He's not optimistic on a comprehensive deal right now. He says, I know there are about 10 things we could do to piecemeal on a piecemeal basis if she and her members were open to it and she put it before the members. And, you know, we're not going to piecemeal a deal on anything Pelosi piecemeals to make sure the government stays open to protect her money. And of course, she's going to piecemeal a deal for the post office to make sure she can sway the election in her favor. These people just drive me nuts. So then he says, on one of the other tweets from the president in the 6 or 7 o'clock hour. Now, by the way, what I'm about to tell you guys, I don't have any info on. This is not something I've really looked at, just a heads up. President announced that declassified documents from Mr. Brendan, formerly from the CIA, or Brennan, had been released last night. And what it looks like, the notes from Brennan, is that Hillary Clinton and their campaign had said they wanted to stir up a scandal with Russia for the 2016 election to deflect from her and her email server not being secure. No one knows more about that than you, Mark. It's not surprising. Now, again, guys, I don't know much about this. I do know it sounds like all of that was BS and it was a ton of wasted money for no reason. Because remember, they're going to impeach him over this, and then it was just $45 million that could have gone to us to stimulus help that went nowhere. So then Mark says, not surprising to me, but the American people, he says, when you see Brennan's note, the one thing he puts in there is to vilify Donald Trump. He says, when you see a coordinated effort, and this in his handwriting, why is that just coming out to the American people? I agree. Why is this coming out, 4 years later? Why, after $45 million, did Mueller not put any of this in his report to say there could have been a different narrative? I agree. This is why I don't trust the government. It's all shady. It is all so shady, guys. More documents to come and that will be released. And the president wants transparency on all of this, and we will have it in the coming days. Then he says, what did Dan Coates do for 2 or 3 years? I'll be honest, I don't even know who Dan Coates is. This is all stuff I'd have to look up. He says Dan Coates did not want these documents to go out and didn't allow it. I applaud Dr. Radcliffe and Grinnell before him in terms of trying to make sure the American people know the truth. The president has been saying it from day one, and now we have documented evidence to support it. And then the news media says that the people interviewing at Fox says, but Northern networks were covered. He says, not a surprise. That's something that's very, very frustrating. I have to agree with them there. Most of the media is so selective on what they will cover. They cannot give Trump ever a win. They can't say anything positive about him. And it's just so frustrating. He could it's a situation he could cure cancer and they're still going to vilify him somehow. And to people who aren't real deep thinkers who just go with whatever they're told, they're just going to jump on that bandwagon because that's what they're told to do. Selective empathy is what I call it. At the same time, I can argue the phrase and I can argue the stance on selective empathy because you're going to be more empathic to things that are closer to you. But, we all know those people. They're just going to do what they're told. They think their parents' word was gold, even though they're fully grown adults and they haven't realized that their parents really don't know what the HELL they're doing or talking about. Not completely, obviously, but in a lot of things, right? We're all just wandering around trying to figure things out on this rock. Like, this is not an easy situation to be alive on this planet, right? So we're all just kind of trying to figure things out. So no, I even though I don't know the situation too well, I do know a little bit, and that Russia thing seems to have been all BS, which is just so frustrating. $45 million that could have gone to us to help us down the drain. So I want to break a couple more things down with you on what he said in detail. I do like the fact that he points out with Pelosi when they're saying that, Pelosi's trying to say that, Trump is ruining the stimulus. And he's like, nope, she's had other, we've tried for months to be able to work with her and she won't work with us in a way that's going to be positive for the American people, and that she's actually failed a bunch in this. And I have to agree with him on this. And he says a lot of what was happening. He says, a lot of us on the call with the president were looking at the progress that's been made and not made. The president felt it was better to be transparent with the Americans on the prognosis of when he can get stimulus. The problem is, though, he didn't clarify, so it looked like he was canceling stimulus himself, which is not true, because just because he might say no more talks doesn't mean there's not going to be talks. In fact, Pelosi and Mnuchin were speaking this morning. It's just Y'all, it is just vibrato. This is just song and dance. These are purely negotiation tactics. If you've heard me talk about this, this is bad musical theater. I've said this before. Even really bad musical theater is great musical theater sometimes because it's so bad, it's entertaining. That's what this is. It's just song and dance musical theater, which it drives me nuts watching this happen because we are suffering and we desperately need help. And he says he'd rather be transparent with the American people. Well, then he needs to speak more clearly because he's just giving ammunition for the American people and the media to spin what he says and give him hate. But I've also been in that position on a very lesser level where everything you say is scrutinized and hyper-analyzed. I get it, but at the same time, being the president, you're going to have to expect that, unfortunately. And so he does say he's still fully engaged in this, and that is good. That is good. Every time we would hear from his, one of his representatives when he was in the hospital was always like, we talked about stimulus today. First thing he wants to know is where we're at with stimulus, where we're at with stimulus. So he then says, Mnuchin, the president offered 1.6 trillion, and they're willing to do that. And she's saying she'd rather do 0 than 1.6, and I agree. And I agree with President saying we have to help the airlines. They should have been helped like October 1st. I'm wondering, I'm like, was Trump going to do something and then he got the virus? Like, where are these executive orders at he should be passing? And that's another question I have that I want to go into in a video later, so stay tuned for that when it comes to that. So when they talk about, the fact that he tweeted during the market hours, they lost all that money. It was interesting, and I'm glad they called this out. They're like, who told him to tweet all that? Because it was stupid. It was a stupid move. What he did and how he did it. They're like, who told you to do all that? Did Mnuchin? What was the situation? And that's where he was saying they were having a call, looking at the progress, looking at the numbers, and they just want to be bailed out. That Nancy wants to bail out her poorly run, literally on fire all the time, state because she has poorly run it, and that we don't need this money, and that we have the problem solver caucus that could fix everything, and the Democrats won't touch it whatsoever, even though it is a better deal that goes further to help people, which in some respects I would agree. The only thing I didn't see in there is hazard pay. That's the one that concerns me. And he says, and there's this point that you understand you're playing politics. I agree with that. Pelosi also does not want those checks to go out before November 3rd. And that's right. I've been saying this before. I wonder if the Democrats are going to, even though they act like, and they're going to try to put the appearance, they're the ones out there trying to get this passed. I think in the background, they may be stalling as much as humanly possible in this situation because right now, for stimulus checks to pass, it gives Trump another win before the election. And I'll tell you, I'm very impressed with the intelligence of watching the negotiation debates behind the scenes go on when it comes to the election because Trump just kept doing things to get wins. He was passing emergency stimulus, doing executive orders, calling them out, saying, I'm going to do something if y'all don't. But then all of a sudden he turns around and conveniently he and everybody in the White House and the Congress is going down with the virus. By the way, I'm not saying anything other than the timing is suspicious. I don't have evidence for anything that I'm saying. I'm just saying, 3-4 weeks before the election this happens? Timing is suspicious. That gives Trump an L. So let's entertain the idea that maybe there was something nefarious going on with Trump getting this virus. Well, I mean, points to them. It's an evil thing to do, but, it's all again. But the government, these people in the government, the majority of them are evil. They don't care about us. These are all power plays and political ploys to get more power and money and all the stuff that they do, right? So the virus gets the virus after saying, it's not that big a deal, let's reopen. Looks like big losses. And then from Trump, having this virus, and I don't know if it's him having the virus or not, but he's making some stupid calls. I can tell you just from watching him and observing him for the last few months to watch him now making stupid calls, and my heart goes out to him because if this is virus related, I get it. I know what happened. Your physical health can absolutely and will affect your mental and emotional health. So our hearts go out to him. But, and then on top of that, for him to tweet this the way he did makes it look like he canceled stimulus and takes all the pressure off the Democrats. So it's the Republican, not the Republicans, it's what I believe, the people at the top that control everything are really pulling, and the Democrats are really pulling interesting punches at Trump last minute, which I find very, very interesting. I just hope Trump has the right people around him where he can refine his bearings to kind of get everything done. But at the same time, I'm going to be honest, y'all, I'm getting madder and madder at Trump because he has been promising and saying he's going to help with stimulus, he's going to help. And he did do the executive orders, which were fantastic. However, Trump, you could do executive orders. Where are you? I'm starting to get, I'll be honest, and not even the word impatient, because this is not about us needing patience. It's that people are starving and we're getting evicted from our homes. And I'm just more and more looking at this and I'm getting more and more upset. President Trump, why are you not stepping up to help? Because what this is starting to look like right now is that all sides, including him, that they are all playing a political game. Otherwise, why isn't he doing more to help? Now, I think Trump would be stupid not to try to put something in place before the election with stimulus. Because this is the one last card. To pass an executive order to give us stimulus checks, hallelujah, this would be like a one very big, quick shot to help, clinch that election for him, to cinch that up. So why isn't he doing it? Does he think it's not to his benefit anymore? This is a video I want to go more into detail with later because I'm getting more and more upset. I know you guys think I'm pro-Trump, but I'm not. What it is that I'm tired of watching the media come after him all the time for BS because then we don't know what to criticize. And I don't like seeing anybody go through that. But right now, this is getting ridiculous. We need help, and everybody needs to get their you-know-what together to help us because people are suffering. They're struggling. They're starving. They're dying. And we need help. And I'm just going to keep screaming it from the rooftops, and somebody better step up and do that. I've been hoping Trump is going to be that person since he did it last time because, I'd like to say, history is an indicator of what's going to happen. But at the same time, we don't know. So this will be a crapshoot. We'll see. Okay, guys, if you want to be eligible for my $100 gift card giveaway, this is so simple. Please make sure and like this video. If you haven't already, like the video and any videos you see so I can keep doing the gift card giveaways. If you remember on the old channel, I did one for every video for a month and a half, and I would love to continue to do them. So make sure and help me by liking this video and all the other videos you see. So like the video, subscribe, hit notifications so you can be notified daily what's coming down the pipeline for you and your stimulus money. Also comment, sound off in the comments what you think. I would love to hear everything. Multiple comments are even better. And guys, please share this content with as many people as you know are struggling. People on unemployment, waiting for unemployment, waiting for stimulus checks, SB loan and grant issues, bill issues. I've got tons of tools and tons of resources to help you on this channel through this difficult time. And I'd love to have the option to do that. And remember, I'm giving away a $100 gift card for the video from earlier. So if you haven't, go check out that video. You have to watch it from start into finish. That's where the gift card giveaway is going. But if you want to help me be able to continue to give away gift cards, just make sure in every video, like, subscribe, comment, hit notifications, and share. And make sure and do it with the video from earlier so you can get in on that video and be eligible to win that card. Remember, my channel is super small right now, so you still have a shot. So if you were doing this at 100,000 subscribers, now we're under 10. You've got a good shot, so make sure and do that. Also, go add me on Facebook. On Facebook, it's Katie's Insight. Like the page, join the group. And right now, it's Katie's Corner. Will be changed to Katie's Insight. So if you can't find Katie's Corner, look up Katie's Insight. Go in there, ask all the stimulus questions you want. I'm in there. We have some of our awesome subscribers turned group members in there, and it's a great time. And I just want to say before I go, every time I sign off on these videos, even though I'm exhausted from talking, I am so appreciative. I don't want to get emotional, but just I'm so grateful to you guys. We restarted this channel, boom, over 9,000 subscribers out the gate. We've been doing so well. The first 2 days, I'll give you a quick update. We did over 8,000 views, and I was surprised. I thought, I'm not going to pull in over 500 a video. I was surprised. And then we jumped up to 22,600. Yesterday, we did the next day, 36,600. And then we had a little bit of a dip, but that's to be expected. It's YouTube. We went down to 23,000, and we're over 9,000 subscribers right now. And within literally 2 hours, I got monetized. You guys got me monetized in what, 3 days? 3 days. I couldn't have done this without you guys. And I just want you to know how, I know this is going to sound dramatic, but I want you to know how absolutely, eternally grateful I am to each and every one of you who commented. I saw some of you like Mussolini comment and I think it's Velda, right? Velda, who commented several times on every video. Thank you so much. And even some of my gift card winners, I've been seeing them, the ones who won on the other channel. They have been, leaving comments, multiple comments. I'm so grateful to you guys. Thank you so much. I'm seeing it. I can't tell you how much this means to me because like I've said before, and I'll say this again, I'm not that special and I'm not that important. But the fact that you guys are helping me move on from this situation, it's so hard, guys. I'm in a state of having some health exhaustion because of how hard I worked on that other channel and then the stress and coming back here, and now there's no break. I have to just keep working hard. And it's hard. It is very, very hard with the other chronic stuff I have going on, but seeing how much support and love I have, it keeps me going. And I cannot thank you guys enough. From the top, the bottom, and the whole of my heart, thank you. I'm so blessed to have you guys, and I'm so blessed that you've allowed me into your lives and into your homes frequently and to be able to give you this information, and I do hope that it helps, and all I want to do is continue to be of service to you guys. I've said this before, I was never that little girl who was like fantasizing about my dream wedding, my husband, or my future children. By the way, if that's you, you do you, boo, and if you are a great parent, awesome. We need more good people making good people, right? But that was never me. I've always just wanted to somehow, in the world of entertainment or in whatever way I can, I've wanted to be of service to people, and you've allowed me to do that, and I cannot tell you how grateful I am. So don't get emotional, but thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to end this video here. Also, I apologize. I still have red shin gate from spilling hot tea, because you can't drink down. Oh, what is wrong with me? You can't lay down and drink hot tea. If you saw my other video, check it out. If my chin looks a bit weird, no, I didn't just, smear lipstick on me. This is all me, all natural burn, baby. Lots of aloe vera. Okay, guys, much love. Take care. I will see you soon. Blessings, and we'll just keep breaking stuff down. Okay, bye, guys.